Good evening. This Wednesday, I'm Christina Rendon. The White House will be hosting an event tomorrow dedicated to combating the rise of gun violence across the nation. It is the second of its kind after having launched last year. And this year, Half Moon Bay farm worker advocate Dr. Belinda Hernandez Arriaga was invited to attend this event with President Biden, along with a coalition of other gun violence prevention advocates. Dr. Arriaga is the founder and executive director of ALAS, a nonprofit organization that provided critical emotional and practical support to the families affected by that tragic shooting at a mushroom farm in January of last year in Half Moon Bay. 7 people were left dead. Dr. Arriaga landed in Washington, D.C. in just the last few hours. She's joining us live now. Belinda, thanks so much for joining us tonight. I know it's late. The time difference over there has it at about 10:30. So just give us a sense of what your trip is going to be like. How are you preparing for tomorrow?
Well, thank you so much for covering this story, for having me. I'm coming on behalf of all the many victims that have suffered at the hands of gun violence, especially in our coastal community. As I was traveling here, I was thinking about the 7 lives lost, our farm workers, but also was thinking about others that have passed away in Half Moon Bay at the hands of gun violence. And so I was able to contact the families and talk to some of them and share that I'm coming on behalf of them, standing here with their hearts and spirit to push and stand for change, especially in the Bay Area.
What was their reaction when you told them that you're heading to the White House on behalf of them?
You know, I think they were hopeful because this gives them an opportunity to know that their voices continue forward, that their loved ones have not passed away, without being remembered, with the fight for change. And that has to continue forward. We can't stop. We must fight for reform. And I'm so grateful to President Biden and Vice President Kamala Harris that have made this change or committee around gun violence reform, and that we are being invited to have a seat at the table to really remember those that we've lost, with hopes for urgent change to happen.
Will you be speaking with the president or vice president directly about this tragedy or tomorrow at the event?
I really don't know, but believe me, if I have any opportunity, I am gonna, really put our farm worker community front and center, because we cannot be forgotten. We are just a little bit over a year and a half after the tragedy, and there's so much pain and loss that is still felt so deeply.
Yeah.
And we must continue to never forget.
You mentioned a year and a half, a little more than a year and a half since that tragedy. It's actually been 1 year, too, since President Biden established the first ever White House Office of Gun Violence Prevention. So 1 year anniversary for that tomorrow. Do you feel that anything has changed, anything improved?
Well, I do feel that there's movement in with, the establishment of this gun violence program. And tomorrow is a highlight of what we're going to continue to advocate for, and say that more has to happen. Every day there's lives being lost, and there's so many families and children and individuals that are hurting from the recklessness of gun violence. And so our farm workers on the coast side, we felt it so close at home. Individuals and families that have lost their loved ones, we're not going to stop until change happens.
Well, I know that a lot of people are looking forward to this event tomorrow, and I'm sure that they are so happy that you are there representing them on behalf of the Half Moon Bay community. Dr. Belinda Hernandez Arriaga, thanks so much for joining us tonight, and good luck tomorrow.
Thank you for having me.